Okay, yeah, so now it works. Wow. Oh man, it's gonna be hard to be positive. Can you guys hear me? 20 minutes late. So I've just had a oh, here's Jeremy. Thank goodness. I've just had a catastrophe on this computer. Oh, give him 20 minutes. Okay. Right. So I'm not going to have Bloodhound for the next 20 minutes. Right. Okay. Well, then we'll just work with what we've got, right? That's what we do. So I made the mistake of assuming that these AMD processors are more than capable of running multiple graphics cards. Well, I guess they are for certain games, but not necessarily with 6 monitors at 2K each. So just limiting it down to the size of the monitors being 1080p, 1920 by 1080p. That's increased the performance dramatically. Okay. But I updated the AMD software, and it totally messed everything up. And I've been trying to undo it. Rord, I don't even know if you're on here. I didn't even mention it to you because I didn't want to sound like an idiot. But yep. So that's what else is new? But I do have some good news. And the good news is you will have this massive major update mañana. Hopefully before the market opens, because we're going to have kind of an open house for the next 3 days. And I think I'm going to do it from about 8:30 to 10:30. So not the typical 10 hours or 10 hours. Felt like it. 3 hours that we used to do, which would always end up being 4 or 5 hours, but right at about 2 hours. And then we'll do a recap at the end. Today, I'm going to go over, since I can't really go over the Bloodhound. No, he's already fixed it. He has already fixed it. Well, that's just really, really awesome. Thank you, Jeremy. Okay. So, as most of you know, we've had a huge update to Ninja 8. I say it's huge, but maybe it's not necessarily that huge. They've at least updated to the latest version of .NET 4.8. So it's a pretty big improvement. I think we were on 4.1 or 2, or I don't know, 4.3.5 or something. So we were still dated about 4 years behind the curve, and this latest update brings us completely up to date with at least with .NET framework. So theoretically, multi-threading should be working better, and everything should be running faster. We've actually got an update for the volume analyst as well. And we've gotten rid of all of the all the wingdings objects. So I just did a restore back to the 18th. I kept going back and back, and it wouldn't take. So half the files are mixed. It's like it took it halfway, but not all the way. So anyhow, luckily I've set my folders to continually back up to Google. Thank goodness. Yeah, I always make restore points, but they don't always restore properly. So I got to get that Macrium reflect on here as soon as possible. I had it on the other disk, but I've wiped that other disk clean because it had somebody had installed some tracker stuff on that disk, so I wiped all that out. Somebody I was working with. Let's see. All right, so what I want to do today is run through a little bit about what you're about to be getting tomorrow. Check one. Check. Mic check. Is that better or worse? How about that? That looks pretty good. Is it too much? It's probably too much. Yeah, it's good. Okay, good. Oh, dang it. Not supposed to do that. I tell you, this Generation 4 stuff is it's like alien technology. And evidently I'm just not very I don't know. I have issues with it, but I think we'll manage. So over the course of the next 3 days, basically, it's Thursday that is completely closed. I do think we open up on Friday for half a day. Is that true? Maybe Wednesday is half a day. But anyway, we're going to do an open house for the next 3 days straight, at least. And we're going to have a 50% off sale. So I'm going to send out an email to every single person that has ever given me their email. I'm going to spam everyone. I'm going to blast them. And they can just like it or not. Hopefully they like it. We'll see. But yeah, I'm going to invite everybody to come check out the latest and the greatest that we have, because we've come a long way. So with the volume analyst, can you notice that, well, for one thing, it's reverted to the previous workspaces. So I got got to go in and change. This is my base workspace, the ES workspace. So once I make this workspace, I've got an app that will copy all of these files, all of the workspaces, all the Bloodhound templates, the folders that they go in, and everything into a new folder with a new name of the new instrument. And it will edit whatever sections of code within the XML files and the BHT files, the BBS files. It treats them all as XMLs as they are, and can even create the folders. The thing is, it's $324 for that program, but for me, it's worth it. So, hey, Mick, how you doing, Mickey? So, with that, it's not taking me quite as long. I was thinking I was going to have all this done in less than 70% of the time, but it's about half the time. So I'll have it done tonight. And if not tonight, then hopefully pre-market before we start, which is another reason I'm starting at 8:30 instead of 7:30. So update is coming tomorrow, and you are going to be pretty well amazed at the list of fixes and changes and updates. But do you notice how the spike objects are a little bit bigger? Just slightly. For the minors anyway, for the minors and the majors. Looks to me like he's used the same exact object for both majors and minors. Yeah. So this is all now custom drawing. So when you guys would get an error, it's called batch files from Binary Soft. Yeah, let me show it to you, Constantine. These guys are pretty on the ball. I mean, they're nothing short of brilliant. But yeah, see if you can't have a look-see. One thing's cool though, if we can't, so what I imagine is we'll build our own version of this in which you guys will just be able to add, whatever instrument it is that you want to copy, and then the name of the instrument that you want to build. So if you want to make a new workspace, the reason it's difficult for some of, maybe 5 or 6 of you that have no idea why, it's difficult because we're accessing the signals from the indicators that are on the charts from other charts. And we're doing that using this elaborate reader manager system. And no, he has not done it yet. I'm still getting signals somehow. How bizarre. Okay. Well, anyway. So all of these are solvers within these Bloodhound templates. And these Bloodhound templates allow us to build out sets of logic sequences or rule sets to determine, well, any number of things that you could possibly think of. But the way that I've done it is I've split it into essentially 3 different parts. And tomorrow we're going to delve into each and every one of those. Probably take about half an hour each. as we're looking for setups. Today, I'm just going to kind of give a glossary overview for the next 10, 15 minutes or so until Jeremy sends me the OK signal. I have no idea what's happened here. This is not supposed to look like this. It's funny how I do that right before I have a meeting. The fact is, I didn't do it right before I had a meeting. I just had trouble with it right before I had the meeting. Anyway, right. So what we have are multiple charts per workspace, per instrument. And the main reason for that is to, well, let me kind of put it another way that you guys maybe are not used to hearing it taught this way. So many people will teach, trading one chart. They'll trade one chart and they'll look for the same setup. Maybe they have 3 or 4 quote unquote setups that they look for, which have certain rules that must be met before they'll consider that a valid entry. And then after that, at least as far as I can tell, the vast majority of them really have no idea what they're doing when it comes to determining where they're going to exit. A lot of people will use fixed stops, and I know there is some validity in that in back testing and full automation, but basically we want to trade the market according to the recent price action. So we want our targets based on what would be an expected, and let's say a move that would fall within the second standard deviation, a very normal move, not necessarily looking for 180 ticks in the next hour when the average daily range is only 40 ticks. Nothing quite so ridiculous, although I have seen people teach that. I've also seen people teach 4-tick targets with 10-tick stops. That's not genius. All right, so what I've done is with all of these different charts, and there are a number of them, and let me show you the way that I have them combined. First, let me show you this. It's called Binary Mark. Constantine, this is it. And this is what enables me to literally take every single file within a workspace, including the workspace itself, and mass edit it file by file, chunk by chunk of code in a sequence, in steps. And then I can create folders. I can add the copied files or the new files to those folders. It's pretty awesome, but it should not be on sale for $324. So that is a bit ridiculous. Let me just give you the link. So it's this one, batch files. Took a little while to find this guy. I've tried a number of them. The thing with this one is that it can edit paragraphs of code. So it can actually wrap the text and, indent the lines and so on and so forth. All right, let me just see if that worked. Just thinking about it. Oh. Well, I have an evaluation copy. That just means it's not going to work in real time. All right, let me give it one shot so as to not waste, a full hour of your time. Let's see here. Can't believe this has literally happened 5 or 6 times in a row. Way past ridiculous at this point. Request failed. All right. So it is the way that it is, which is how it always is. And when you get there, there you are. So let me show you this other workspace here. One momento. I don't know why it's looking for that open, high, low, close indicator. Oh, that's the error that he was having yesterday. Yeah, see what you can find, Constantine. Make sure no viruses. I don't like those guys very much. They're quite rude. There we go. Now we're cooking with the back burners on. This thing is flying now. Okay. So it's about to open up one of the workspaces that I've slimmed down quite a bit. Some of you guys have these workspaces, but you don't have this version of these workspaces. So quite a lot of changes here. And tomorrow evening, I'm going to have some fixes for this Ninja Manager as well. So this Ninja Manager is just something that we give out for free. You guys can pass it out to whomever you want. It's just a free tool that will start Ninja up on a timer. You can start it up when Windows starts. You can start it that's so weird. The one main thing that I didn't add was a delay. So that's what I've got to add tomorrow. There should be a delay for it to start running after all the scheduled tasks have completed. Run after scheduled tasks. Correct? Correct. Because, well, for me, I've got to open up this Creator Center, and then I've got to open up the actual AMD software. And then I have to open up the Ryzen master and change it to creator mode, or else the volatility that we're seeing now will slow me down to a dead halt while I'm broadcasting with Zoom. I mean, we've the volatility that we've had for the past year or more, even more, is just unbelievable. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. And this is where you get into ruining your performance. It may make gaming much, much better on a 2-monitor setup, but when you've got 6 displays, yeah, you don't really want to turn any of that stuff on. The only thing you may want to do is the where is it? Even this anti-lag you don't want to do. When you have 2 graphics cards, you basically have to do this frame pacing with AMD. It's the one thing that you have to, well, I say you have to. Excuse me, you get a little bit better performance when you do. And then this should be set to adaptive. I tell you, I learned a lot more about all this stuff than I wanted to. And 10-bit pixel format is way too much color depth. And I'll disable that like it was before I had to go back in time in my little time machine that didn't work. All right, so let's go over that big workspace that I have here. Sounds like somebody kicking a microphone. What was that? Very, very strange. Yeah, it's so weird. That's the AMD software tuning the Ninja charts. Isn't that weird? That's what I mean. This Generation 4 stuff is just really kind of weird. All right. I know for a fact I opened one of these. And he didn't. No, I did. It just Ninja ate it. Ninja will occasionally eat the random XML file just because sometimes it gets hungry. I don't know. It's got a strange appetite. It likes to take all of your money and eat all of your charts as it's doing it. You guys know what I'm talking about? Nah. So this one is the way that I want to explain it. All right. So this is only one of 6 versions of the toolbar that you'll have. You'll have what is it, Constantine? It's 3 variations. No, it's 4 or 5 variations of beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So it's literally 15, isn't it? Yep, 15 different versions of the toolbar. And when I say different versions, there are basically three. It's just that we have so many different button images that you can make it look however you want. This is the high gloss, really shiny and maybe a little Mickey Mouse looking-ish. But there's black and white. They're all, several different shades and colors and whatnot. All right. So if you're thinking about identifying trend and day trading, swing trading, or not, just forget about all that. Forget about day trading and swing trading, scalping, or otherwise. There are so many different definitions for each of those. And people define trend in so many different ways. I guess textbook, it's just higher highs and higher lows is an uptrend, and lower lows and lower highs make a downtrend. But by the time you have a lower high confirmed, meaning you've just recently broken the first low, chances are you're making the end of a correction. So right as the definition for trend change is being met and counted as true, you might just be putting in a low. So let me give you a couple of for instances. And I'm going to start with this 138-minute chart. And the only reason I chose that is because it has 10 even bars per session, right? Because there are 1,380 minutes per session. It's really not quite that. Or maybe it's a little bit more than that for the ES, actually, because of the 15-minute reopen or the 30-minute reopen, whatever it is. But that's the way we've chosen to do it. And we're basically going down in divisors of 2, or let's say we're increasing by multipliers of 2 to 2.5, sometimes 3. For instance, this is a 1-minute chart, but it's an RTH 1-minute chart. Okay, I'm just going to explain this operative time frame, and that's it. I just want you to understand why we have so many charts, because it's the number one question that we get, and it's the number one reason that people look at this and they say, well, how am I going to learn that? Well, thankfully, we have a pretty exceptional programmer, and I happen to get these wild and crazy ideas that he can actually turn into visible software, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, so I had to, I'm not going to mess with this right now. All right. So one of the things that we're going to do is eliminate the need for this many charts, so that all we have left are the charts that we need to draw on. And then if you want to occasionally look at the signals from those charts that are basically going to be virtual or at least hidden, then you'd be able to press a hotkey and call those up from time to time if you want to look at them. But let's just define what chart we're trading and why. All right, so if this is a 1 minute chart, let me do this. I'm a little bit out of sorts with all of this running late and nothing working business. It sure does throw you for a loop. All right, so by me setting this to 0 and then recalculating, you'll be able to see all of the signals all the way back for the length of the chart. I may have to, wow, that was fast. I was going to say I may have to go and find the one workspace that still has that error message open, which it looks like I do. Real quick. No, it's just an older version than the ones that I have ready to go. All right. So if you're trying to define what chart it is that you're trading and you're in somebody's trading room and they're trying to teach you how to trade on their Renko bars or their range bars or whatever, what do most people, and I know a lot of you guys have been through the ringer on this, what do most people out there teach? Is it just one chart, two charts? What do you normally see? No more than 3, right? Usually 3 to 5, 2. Yeah, a lot of people use just one, right? And oftentimes it's, oh, well, thank you, Miss Ava. You're so sweet. A lot of times it's just one and it's a Renko chart and it never adjusts to market volatility. They never change the size of it. There's no rhyme or reason as to why they've chosen that size, other than possibly because of the size of the stop that they've got to use, because they're typically waiting on a reversal bar in a Renko, and you can back test the heck out of those and get some good results, but they're totally fake results. I can manufacture those all day long. That's why if you leave here with nothing else, leave here with, don't ever trust a back test. Unless you're doing it yourself and you know what you're doing. Don't trust someone else to show you results from a back test that you can believe. It's a rarity that you would find something as such. So we've got a 1 minute here, excluding the overnight. And then we go to let me just blow it up a little bit. And then we go to a 2 minute. It says min 1, but there's a reason for that, which we'll go over tomorrow. But Okay, this is min 1, which is a 2-minute chart. Min 2 is a 5-minute chart. So now we have a multiplier of 2.5. There's the open. And then we go to a 10-minute chart. And you see the difference now? Now you're starting to look like, kind of looks like we're in a triangle or something. Okay, and then here is the 15-minute RTH chart. And these are all the ES, S&P 500. And then we go to an hourly. And now we're starting to see that, well, yeah, we've got some lower lows and lower highs in here. We haven't quite taken out that lowest low yet, although it looks like we're about to. However, look at that relative volume into the close on Friday. Exceptionally huge. Exceptionally huge. So that is kind of leading me to believe that we're going into a triangle type pattern. We've made a 1-2 back here. This is third wave high. Maybe it's wave 5 and this is over, and this is a wave 1 down, 2 back up. That's the way that I had it counted. Although, let me just show you what I did, and I'm gonna come back to this and tell you why this is so important to have a division of time frames. I'll just go ahead and tell you the main reason is so that you can classify the trades. You have to be able to measure something in order to improve it, right? A lot of people attribute that to what's his name? The guy that, I don't know, Kepler or somebody, basically stole all of his ideas from some other guy that stole his ideas from his mentor. Anyway, if you can't measure it, you can't prove it, right? So this is Bo's last export. Bo helps us out with the analysis live. So we're continually marking up the charts and exporting them, which then sends all of these objects that we produce with the toolbar that are also accessible via Bloodhound to a server, and at the same time takes a snapshot of it and posts it to this forum. Okay, I got a little bit dramatic in here somewhere, a little higher. And I said, warning, warning. Next high is the high. Where are you? Major alert, major alert. Just because it counts so beautifully. Now, this is the actual underlying instrument. So when we're trading the futures, we're trading a derivative of the cash market. The cash market is the 500 stocks that make up the S&P 500, right? The largest 500 stocks, supposedly in the United States, although they have all of their headquarters in Switzerland, Mexico, China, and various other places, which they've been systematically doing since Clinton. Very strange. But anyway, I was looking at this and saying, so Bo and I were actually doing this one together, and we were trying to figure out, okay, if this is a 1, 2, then how in the world do we get a perfect wave 3 into this high? And that was really no easy task. And it's still a little bit dicey in here, but man, you've got perfect wave relationships in here. So the big 1-2 is the normal, standard Arabic numerals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have the lowercase Roman numerals in a circle, which is the 1 degree less, 1 degree smaller. Okay. So this is big 1, big 2. And this is a little bit smaller 1, a little bit smaller 2. Well, that makes the end of wave 3 exactly 161/8 the size of wave 1, which is the standard, typical, most often seen extension for wave 1. It just happens to make wave 4 a tiny little expanded flat. It's the only, wouldn't really call it an issue. It's the only thing that makes it look awkward. But when you do all the other comparisons, like when I'm comparing little tiny subminuet, no, this is micro, no, it's subminuet wave 1, 2, and then 3, 4. That fifth wave right there is exactly the same size as that wave 1 up right there. And I'm actually snapping to the highs and the lows. So those are extremely precise. So I've got a pretty good idea as to where the next major high will come in. And if we do go up and hit that, you are going to see probably one of the most dramatic reversals down that I think that we'll ever see. I mean, I doubt any of you, maybe one of you, lived through the crash in 1929. Anyone? Surely one of you out there when you were 1 or 2 years old. But anyway, this is such a perfect count up now that I can see it clearly, with so many trend channels coming together at this high. The only issue was at the time that you could kind of count 5 up from this fourth wave low, which fourth wave low came back into the fourth of the third, which is typical, right? Didn't quite break that A wave low, but we had such a nice push down that came back and filled the gap that the ABC back up was so really picture perfect that I mean, we had to count it as an ABC back up because it was just kind of too good to be true, really. Trying to find where mine is. See, I started from that low and then it lines up perfectly with that high. But then we also have a perfect down sloping upper median line. Yeah. So this is where I started to get into it, and I'm counting this a completed fifth wave up with a 5-wave move down for 1. It's kind of a funny fifth wave there, though, which is why I'm very, very suspicious of this. I suppose you could count that the end of wave 1 here, but Yeah, at the time, I figured, it's run into so many overlapping areas at that point, and it was exactly 161.8, the size of wave A. And I don't know if you guys remember, but last Sunday I had taken a short way too early, right? And I had talked about it's probably going to stay here and likely move higher, gap up, tick out that lower high, hit all these major areas up here, and then turn down and hit that 161.8. And I'll be darned if that's not exactly what it did. So that's Bo. Yeah, that's one that I missed. So it's actually the parallel from low to low from that lower high. But that's not the way that he drew it. Anyway, that is where it stopped. So we're going to figure this thing out here in a second. But I just want to kind of show you why I was looking for the lower high, even after calling that the next top would be, sorry, that the next high would be the major top, just because it's so, I mean, it's set up so perfectly to be either a really sharp, dramatic, not sharp and dramatic, but long and drawn out flat, or a completely sideways triangle. The thing that makes me second guess that whole entire idea is the Nasdaq, because it has come down quite a bit more. So anyhow, this is how Analysis Live works. The service that we're doing is we're doing all of the market geometry markups for you, and then we're exporting it. And then Bloodhound can read those signals. And once you have a signal from the market geometry chart, which is the tick one chart, then depending upon whichever chart is the operative time frame, which is what I'm going to get into now. Jeremy just told me something. Nope. Let's see. It really doesn't matter. I can buy without it, I suppose. There we go. Yeah. So if you're looking for a lower high, the market's been going basically straight up for quite a while. I mean, it's had some pretty massive retracements in here. But if you're trading one or two charts, how is it that you adapt to what the markets are actually doing? How do you do that? How do you do that on the fly when you have fixed rules, which most people will always start off with? Every single person that I worked with building Bloodhound templates for them and then back testing them, they'd all start off with the same idea, some sort of oscillator, moving averages, crossovers, Renko bars, blah, 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 waiting for that quote unquote confirmation. And by the time you get that confirmation, you're so far away from the area that gives you the best, well, basically expectancy for the trade, the best trade location, so that you can have minimal stops relative to the size of the targets that you would put in place for that trade. That if you end up losing what you're probably going to end up losing, which is more than half, most people, following rules or not, you'll end up blowing your account pretty quickly. And if you do what most people do, you'll start adding to your losing positions. You'll move your stops. Heaven forbid you'll close your stops altogether and go to sleep, and then wake up and just pray that when you come back to the computer, it's all the way, $50,000 higher. But in fact, it's actually blown your account. Let's see. See if I have a real-time signal now. Yeah. It worked. Perfect. What do you call that? A market repair reset? Not market repair. I had to do a not a backup, but a reset. Okay. All right. So the way that I've slimmed these down, and like I said, a lot of you guys already have these workspaces, but I've combined all of these charts together such that you can basically just have one showing at a time. A lot of people have found that to be beneficial, but also a little bit frustrating because you cannot always see a trade setup that may or may not be happening, and then you end up missing a couple. That's usually when you're trying to trade more than two markets. If you're just trading two, maybe three markets, you're fine. But with these workspaces, you should easily be able to get by with about four. With the bigger ones, three is about the max right now. So the main improvements that we have to do with market geometry Bloodhound templates, the Blackbird templates, which I'm not going to get into today. And then this is the very first of probably 10 updates over the next course of 8 weeks or so for the volume analyst. So a guy that left a trade open without a stop, went to bed and lost 300K. Holy macaroni. That's a lot. That's a lot. I've done something similar, but it was more like $5,000. I suppose most of us have. Those of us that are not engineers, anyway. I doubt very much an engineer would ever do something so stupid. So I'm about to restart here real quick. So for instance, Josh that used to work with us, he would never do anything like that. Like he's He's never blown an account. He's never done anything even remotely close to being quote unquote stupid. He's just gone through that, slow and steady decline. But we all have to do it. We all have to go through it. You are your own holy grail, unless you want to spend a decade learning how to build automated systems. So what I have here is as close to a sorry, I got neighbors spying on me. Let me just close this. These blinds are staring right at me. Weirdos. It's about as automated as I can make it without opening myself up to litigation. So I'm not going to hand someone a fully automated system and say, here you go. Go take your 10 grand and lose it in the next 2 days. So luckily, we found someone, a member of ours, who's been with us since we started moving to NT8 about 3 years ago, back when I was saying it would be about 12 months. Remember those days? 12 months. It took about 3.5 years. So he is pretty adept at all of this. He's been doing it for a couple of decades. He's actually got some automated systems that are running, I think, or he did have at one point. But he's very, very keen on money management and risk control. So last Wednesday, he took over for me for the last hour, and he just kind of extemporaneously jumped into it and did a little quick session on money management and risk analysis. So it wasn't exactly the way that he wanted it to go down, obviously. But we have the beginnings of what I think will be kind of the intro to trading 101. You must pass this course before. Oh man, come on. You must pass this course before you can move on. And we're going to institute that in 2021. The skinny of it is we're doing a 50% off sale. I've never done it before, ever, and I never will again. The fact that I'm even hearing myself say that after literally spending probably the age of 65 to 95 of my life building this stuff out. Yeah, I've lost an easy 30 years building all this out, not to mention a few million. And my life savings in the past couple of years trying to make it through NT8. So to hear myself say that I'm going to give this to you for 50% off makes me want to slap myself. But if you want to get on board and you don't want to have maintenance fees, you don't want to have to pay for updates, you want to have the software and own it and have a one-time payment and have it be rather small comparatively, this is the one and only very last time, not joking around whatsoever. This is it. I think the lowest I've ever gone before is 35% off. And even that was a little bit difficult to do. And I'll be going over all the details of what you're going to get. Like what does that entail over the coming days in the trading room. And then I'll be making a recap at the end of each session, which will kind of summarize all of it. All right, let me try this one more time. I know this is taking up so much time. It's kind of obscene, but so be it. We're already in the mire. We may as well roll around in it. Can't believe I just said that. Is it even a real saying? I hope not. Sounds gross. Yeah, it worked. All right. You all right, Jeremy? You all right? Didn't exactly have time to reset all my license keys. All right. So now that I've got everything hooked back up here, I started to talk about identifying operative time frames. You know, what is, if you're going to take the trade, how are you going to classify it? And what signals are you going to use to confirm the trade? Number two, but mainly number one, how are you going to classify the trade? How are you going to distinguish it from, say, a day trade where you're, maybe you're trading a 2-minute chart, you're going for 4 or 5 ATRs on the 2-minute versus the 15-minute RTH that you're going to hold for half of the session. What are you going to do to distinguish those two trades so that you can keep track of them, which is essential? Keep track of them and then start to log your results and figure out what is working, what is not working. And please, guys, if you, in this risk analysis course that you're going to have to go through, I see this so often. I've been doing this live trading room for the better part of 7 years now, 6 years. And, I have winning streaks and then I have losing streaks. But when I have winning streaks, everyone is so elated and writing in and talking about how great it is. And I know in the back of my mind that they are literally copying my trades. They're copying my trades, which is a big no-no. You don't earn while you learn. What school did you ever go to and did that? I don't remember earning while I remember bartending in college and washing dishes and working with some Chinese guys and doing some laundry and stuff. But I don't really remember earning while I was learning calculus. Do you? Mm-mm. Doesn't really work that way. So put that right out of your mind. Figure out a way to classify your trades. I've done it for you with what we call operative time frames. And this is not a new concept. In fact, I'm actually robbing it from Ralph Nelson Elliott himself. Although he doesn't really define it. So I've strictly defined it. It has to be between 35 and I think it's like 95 or 105 bars. So we're looking for ABCs within a trend. Okay. The problem with that is you may be in an uptrend on one chart, but you're in a downtrend on the other. So what do you do? Well, if you're only looking at one chart, you never would have known that there was a difference, right? You never would have known that there was a competition in the direction of the market. In other words, there were lower highs and lower lows, and also on the other chart, there were higher highs and higher lows, which is usually indicative of a triangle. But all right, let me just show you how we do this. So look at this setup right here. So you've got number one, the areas that you're looking for in the market geometry. Okay. That's a pretty clean and clear one, but that's just the downsloping. Okay. We also have to have an upsloping area, preferably on a different chart. And forgive me if I'm all over the place. I'm really exhausted, man. And everybody at Katie's work has COVID. Evidently, they've been tested positive for it. And they're milking it. They're playing hooky. So whatever that means. Test positive for COVID, and then they didn't test positive for it, and they did, and then they didn't again, and then they did one more time. Kind of interesting. All right, so this is a 10-minute chart. We also use the volume profile, but not as much. I weight that at about half. So an area in the market geometry, let's say, is a 1. If you have, for instance, in this case, you have a bar, the last bar, touching both the median line and its channel at the same time, that's a +3. Okay. That's 1 and 1 equals 3. All right, but typically you want to use a minute chart and a tick chart. And, it may not always be a channel like I've drawn here and you barely missed. It may just simply be a trend line. And maybe you overthrow it a little bit as you did there. But look at the volume signal that we have here. Okay, this is relative volume. And I've seen relative volume various different places. The idea comes from Brett Steenbarger, actually, who is probably the world's most, he's the leading authority on trading psychology. And he works for S&B Capital, but he wrote an article about 20 years ago or so, maybe 17 years ago, when he was working for Mr. Fancy Pants. What's his name? Always forget his name. Hey, Rob, what's happening, buddy? I can't remember his name. Used to be one of the richest people in the world. But anyhow, once that article came out, I don't know. I don't think that went down too well, but they used relative volume to try and anticipate volatility for the day. So what we're doing with the relative volume is we are trying to anticipate, let me put it a different way. What we're doing is we're looking at total volume per bar. Okay. Raw volume, the true volume, total volume per bar as it's coming in relative to the average volume that typically transpires over the duration of that bar over the past X number of days. Say for this 10-minute chart, we would look back maybe 6, 7, 8 days. Okay. So that's what we're doing with the relative volume. And then if I put raw volume on here, you'll probably see a little spike, but I doubt it's anything even remotely close to what we see here. Well, I shouldn't say all that, but it's not going to have a big, giant red, hey, look at me. Yeah, you got a little spike there. A little spike there. But see, I'm not showing you the highest high of that bar there. I'm chopping it off so that you can see the difference from one bar to the next. Because just a slight change in the volume from one bar to the next is pretty important. It's quite important, actually. And low volume is just as important as high volume. You don't hear me major on that too often, though. This is kind of an interesting case here where we have volume divergence in the raw volume, but don't have it in the relative volume. But you see how price is slowing down into that area? So this is without a doubt the most precise divergence algorithm in existence. It just needs to be refined and have some redundancy removed from it. It needs to be faster, but it is incredibly accurate. I think I made about 112 cases for it. So anything and everything you can think of, if there's a divergence there, whether it be regular, hidden, whatever, it's a few different ways you can define it. It can do it. And it can use any indicator, any instrument, which I'll show you on the ES in a moment. And then we'll probably wrap this thing up because I've got a lot of work to do to finish this. And I want you guys to have this in the morning so that y'all can actually participate. So I'm going to put whoever wants to come in tomorrow, I'm going to actually put you in the forum. And you'll get to trial the forum out for the next 3 days or so. So I'll do it live for about 2.5 hours a day. And then hopefully on Tuesday, I'll actually have my full-blown, instant recording, go live whenever I want to with the press of a button. All of that set up before the market opens on Tuesday. We've been working on it for quite a while. Me and the guy at Shark Indicators, Keith, and I think we've got it figured out. So, but yeah, I mean, that's essentially, that's one of the setups that we look for. But look, it's not showing up on this chart, is it? It showed up right there, but there's still one more missing component, which is the volume and the momentum confirmation, which must occur on the faster charts. All right, so this is the most logical sequence of steps that I could put together after building out 1,200 garbage systems for people. It sounds harsh, but I mean, when I go to a meeting and I see at the bottom of a dude's chart 13 oscillators and 27 moving averages, and he's got 3 pages of rules, I just give him his money back and say, good luck, man. It's not going to work. The more rules you have, the worse the performance, at least as far as fully automated. But when it comes to discretionary trading, where you become your own holy grail, you develop a kind of market intuition, and that can be a good thing at times, and it can be a bad thing at other times when you get cocky and you get on a winning streak, and then you think you're invincible, and then you do the dirty. You start moving those stops, adding to losing positions. So what time frame do you think this occurs on then? It's not showing up on the 10-minute. It's at 4 a.m. Can't be on the 15-minute. So it's got to be on the 30-minute chart, right? Which would be the min 4, which has a multiplier of 3. So we're going from 10 minutes to 15 with the RTH, but it's not going to have this trade because this is in the middle of the night. So we're going to go to the min 3. Where are you? Oh, you're right there. I'm sorry, min 4, guys. What in the world? I'm losing my mind. I think I've already lost it. Yeah, it's definitely gone. What time is that? November 19th at 4:20 a.m. Boom, shakalaka. Look at it. Clear uptrend, but losing steam, right? Let me clean this up a little bit. Ooh, I just use my fancy schmancy. Delete all objects. So that would be this low right here, right? Right there. Most recent long we've had in crude. So where do you think the main area is coming from? What do you hear me say all the time in the trading room? Draw from the high before the low to the highest high, low before the high to the lowest low. In this case, you will have already broken through the first one, which gave you that long there, right? I mean, it's like clockwork every day. It's just kind of weird, really. So that gave you that long there. And then you move it up, and well, things get a little squirrely. Doesn't quite look right. So you go to the next high above it, right there. And there it is. Isn't that weird? So weird. This market geometry. So if we turn up from that, where do you think we're headed? What's your target going to be? I can see two targets. What do you think they are? Actually, we've got multiple targets. So we've got the highest high back here, which is right there. All right, that's one target. Just happens to be in line with that up sloping upper median line. Hey, Miss MJ. I don't know. I'm okay. How are you doing? Thanks for asking. I'm doing I'll be better on March 11th. Actually, I'll be better on January 4th. If they let me in the country. I doubt they will. Right now, I'm just very, very tired. Hopefully, I don't sound too crazy, but I'm sure I do. Yeah, so if we have all of these swings and it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So, okay, yeah, I've got a long here. All right, great. Now what? What do I do? What am I supposed to do with this? This is just way too much. There are just lines everywhere. You know, what am I supposed to do again? How do I do this? So luckily for you, you've got what's called a tick one chart, which has these signals on it that draw in when you have areas in the market geometry come together. So a confluence zone of market geometry. So these last bars are touching multiple areas from at least two charts. Okay, that little prior swing there, that final swing low here, and then it looks like that was probably 8 o'clock at night, 6 o'clock. So just after the reopen, you had a low, which also came together in the market geometry. And that's the thing. We have both tick and minute charts. So you want to draw the market geometry on both because especially intraday, you're going to have areas line up beautifully on the tick charts that you would never have line up on the minute charts. And then vice versa, sometimes even intraday, but especially over a period of, say, 3 to 5 days. They'll line up perfectly on the minute charts and then not so much on the tick charts, but look at that. So that's, well, this one is with the trend channels and the median lines, right? And then I'm doing all this with hotkeys, by the way, and that's this button right here, this one. So you can snap the whole group under your cursor. There's the volume profile. Hey, Charlie. Hey, Boogie, what are you doing? And then you've got a hotkey for the entire toolbar itself. Workspaces, window manager, wave labels, you name it. We'll spend Tuesday kind of majoring on the toolbar half the time, let's say about an hour or so. And then Wednesday we'll major on the volume and momentum divergence. So today I've kind of gotten into the, I don't know, a bit of the operative time frame and a bit of the market geometry. But you know, if I wasn't late again, then this would have gone much more smoothly. You would have seen the new workspaces, and well, you would have seen a lot more, and you would have seen. I suppose I could go in there and get those. Time is it? 6 o'clock. Nah, forget all that. I'm gonna go ahead and put it all together. I was gonna go to southern France, Calas. I don't know if you pronounce the S on that. I think you do. Callas. Mais je parle français un petit peu. Pas trop. Pas assez. All I know is avez-vous voté pour Bush? It's what every Frenchman asked me when I moved over there. Did you vote for Bush? Did you vote for Bush, sir? And I would say, I don't know what you're talking about. No idea what you're talking about. Who's Bush? And they would be flabbergasted. You don't know who Bush is? I'd say, shut up and give me another glass of red wine. Just kidding. Kind of. But anyway, what is it? 6 o'clock. Ugh. Let me see if I can just give me 3 minutes. What's that? How many people do we have in here right now? 60 people. Yeah, give me about 4 minutes, and I'll be right back. I gotta feel like I'm catching a cold again. Sucks. All right, I'll be right back. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I mean, I can't go over all this little nuances. You have the links to the change logs. He's already updated them. He expected that I would send this out today. Hey, Jordy, can you grab those and just link them? And then I'll explain some of the details of that. See if you can just grab the links to the Google Docs. The most important piece is a lot to do with the core drawing system, the reading system, and the drawing system for the volume analyst. So we've made the first major hurdle with the volume analyst. And let me tell you, by the time we're done, it'll have probably a third of the amount of code that it has now. So yeah, it's got a lot of redundancies in there. So The 50% off sale will end on Sunday. All right. Now, the only thing that's not 50% off, and we're just going to do 1 year of analysis live for 50% off. So Cedric has to make those tomorrow. For some reason, the only product that we have right now that does not work with PayPal is the toolbar. And I have no idea why. I asked him if he might fix it, but I think he was doing what people normally do on Sundays, having fun with their family. But yeah, there's going to be so many improvements to the volume. It's not even we haven't even begun to get there. The first thing we're doing is making it real time, efficient, most efficient as possible, and then we'll build from there. But it first has to be real time. We're offloading all of the calculations to an add-on window, and then we're going to call to those calculations from each chart. We'll probably have 2 relative calculations per instrument, and then we'll have our own market analyzer, which will be in reverse. You'll have the instruments at the top, and then you'll have the time frames on the left, if you know what I mean. So it's going to be pretty cool. Oh, well, let me show you real quick. So if I go right click and go back, oh, yeah, there, members, go to members, and then go to, well, it depends on which one you want, but Master Suite Ultimate it'll have all of them. I think you just scroll down right here. Yeah. This is all going to be redone first of the year. Volume Analyst User Guide is pretty much done. I've just got to edit some stuff. Import Manager is, the words have been rewritten. I just need to take some screenshots of the final thing that we have now. Come on, man. Oh, change logs right here. See? Yeah. All right, so that's not right. Yeah, it is. DLL is now adjusted for .NET 4.8 to be in sync with NinjaTrader 8.0.23. So this is not even close to all that was fixed. It's just the major ones that you guys will notice. Yeah, it's, there's so much under the hood stuff that Jordy, you find a lot of stuff that would make a heck of a good tester. If you ever needed a job, you could find one being a tester, that's for sure. Of course, that's what Akish tells me too. But that's the last thing I want to be. Yeah, I mean, he did a heck of a lot more than this. So, okay, he's combining these 3 into one. This update is 8.4.0, but you're not seeing, I think the last one you guys have is 8.3.39 or 3.8. No, you got 3.9. Yeah, but there's so much that's been culled out, like pages of code have just been totally removed, totally redundant. So yeah, mull those over. I'll be back in less than 4 minutes, and then we'll see what I can save here. I'll be right back. Yeah, I was gonna say even the current one works with the newly released NT8. So the only thing that we did was actually what do you call it? Compile it with the new DLLs from Ninja, so that it's actually made for 8.0.23, which is to say that I don't think you'll be able to run it with the old version of Ninja now. Or no, he always makes it backwards compatible. That happened once or twice, and then we figured out pretty quick that that's a big no-no. You are outdated, sir. You've been outsmarted, outwitted, and outdated. I think it's time for you to leave. I'll be back in 4.5 minutos. Let's at least leave you on a fast ticking chart so that you can watch paint dry for a moment. Which shall be the fastest? Nasdaq, of course. And Nasdaq has been eaten. All right, this is quite odd here. They've all been eaten. All right, let me try something real quick. Oh, I know it. Yeah, sorry. I started up and then I halted it because I needed to verify Bloodhound. Sorry, guys, I'm in a total mental fog right now. It's been the story of the year, basically. All right, that should open up just fine now. No problem, Mari. You're new, so forgive you. Does anyone have tick recommendations for trading Forex on a tick chart? So the way we calculate that, Ari, is it's pretty elaborate, actually. It's we use this big, beautiful, wonderful spreadsheet that I've made here, which I'm pretty sure I was in a state of psychosis when I made this, because I don't know why anyone in their right mind would have built such a beast of a spreadsheet. This led to, so we've always used minute charts and tick charts. Well, there was no rhyme or reason as to why we chose the values for the tick charts that we chose. And I thought, well, that's not very precise. That's not very good at all, is it? Why should that be? Why should that value that I'm using be any better than any other value? So what I'm doing is I'm replicating the value of I'm replicating the same number of bars as you might have on a 2-minute chart during the RTH session. So we've built out this little machine here. Yeah, I don't know why it's looking for the current day open, high, low. I didn't add the, oh my gosh, man. All right, let me do this real quick. I'll explain this while I'm doing it. So in order to get the values for that spreadsheet set up properly, and it's something that we should really be changing once every couple of weeks. Let's say once a week. It really depends on the change in volatility. So if volatility is just all over the place, swinging back and forth, then we should be updating it all the time, at least once a week. Eventually, I'll have a automated chart that will sync up with whatever value I set on that spreadsheet on the server automatically every day. And that way we'll all have the same values regardless of what data feed you guys use, because I'll be using the IQ feed. So what we made was what's called a time frame tuner, which is a pretty cool little piece of software. It's an add-on, and it allows you to define that not only number of ticks per 2-minute bar on average, but also number of shares, which doesn't really correspond to Forex at all, but it gives you quite a few pieces of data, not just the ones we're talking about. Just make sure I've got everything now. Yeah, I do. I reckon. But yeah, I'll show you that when I come right back. So that's how the spreadsheet works. It explains it all to you. Here, I'll share it with you. I mean, I know you're not a member per se, but at 50% off, I mean, why not? I don't know anywhere else you'll learn anything even remotely close to what you'll learn here. So, and I think there's several people that can vouch for that, although I have been a little bit, not a little bit, quite a bit skittish in the room as I've been trying to finish this update. So I haven't exactly been participating in there as I should have, but that all changes tomorrow. Are you really? So you know him? Well, that's awesome, man. What's his name? That's pretty cool. That's right, baby. You got you're in good company. You'd be surprised how many Messianic Jews we have. I think it's like 40%. It's crazy. It's pretty cool. It's awesome. I love it. All right, I'll be right back. Yes. All right. I don't have that yet. He sent me an Excel version of it, but I don't even know where it's at, to be honest with you. I've had to reset this thing so many times in the past hour before I started this thing up. But he's going to finish it, I imagine, within the next week or so, maybe 10 days. But yeah, it's pretty magnificent, actually. So Nasdaq is a bit tricky, isn't it? It's the one that leaves me scratching my head the most. This D is not a D, it's a D for Daniel. I thought we were going to come down and make a larger fourth wave. But to be honest with you, this mess in here, I mean, you've got to count that as a fourth wave, like a running flat. It's weird. Or a running double three. And then the fifth wave, I mean, it's pretty obvious. You've got really just one point, one area. And we will likely make it. Well, we've made it to the first one, haven't we? So it all depends on how you draw this. And I am on the same chart. Yeah. 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 Setting this to 1080p makes all the difference in the world. If you guys, I'll just say this real quick. If you guys are interested in doing it right with these new 5000 series Ryzens, get yourself an AMD Radeon Pro W5700 workstation graphics card. It's only $824 from Dell. But it's the first one. It's the first workstation graphics card that's Gen 4. It's the very first one. So it's got all the fancy schmancy stuff in there. And it can handle 6 monitors, as you can see. So I should have already ordered it, and then I could be streaming tomorrow. Yes. Yeah, moron. Just kidding. But yeah, that's the one to get. Write that down. If you're gonna get an AMD 3900X or whatever, 3950, and you want to have 6, more than 4 monitors, rather than getting 2 graphics cards, it's not like Intel. They are nothing like Intel. So let it be known. You'll spend a lot of time trying to get it to work and just get nowhere. Like yours truly. This is a bit of a weird one. I'm going to do the monthly. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of data that goes back. Why is that? It's really weird, isn't it? Shouldn't they give me back to 97? Anyway, that's definitely the low of I guess the low in the Nasdaq occurred in winter 2008. The low of the S&P was March 2009. Yeah. Man, it looks so ridiculously small compared to what we're dealing with now, doesn't it? But it was over 60%. It's just totally nuts. We are set up for a disaster like the world has never seen, nor ever will again. 55%. Okay. This was the big one. That was the dot-com burst, which was quite dramatic. Whole lot of money made on nothing. And then it was all lost because it was worth nothing. And now we are way above that. Look at that. Exponential. You would expect that it would keep right on going, wouldn't you? But just like with the commodities, when they go exponential, it's a little bit different with when you have stocks. This one only has 100 underlying stocks. The Nasdaq, the big one, has 2,000 stocks. I was QQQ, the ETF. What about the actual Comp X? Let me try that one. Actually, I'll just put it on here and then delete it. Comp P. That's the 2000. All right, let's do a monthly. 5,000 bars. I'm going to wrap this up in about 6 minutes so I can get this installer, hopefully at least one of them out before I keel over. Weekly, yeah. No, I don't want. Well, let's see what the volume looks like on there. That's why I love TradeStation volume. It's or just TradeStation data in general. It shows the index volume perfectly. I don't know why IQ Feed doesn't do that. For the cost, you would think it would. At least 10 years ago, TradeStation seemed to have the best data that I could tell. I mean, it was just beautiful. But the way they do tick data is frowned upon. Everybody's trying to do tick data so that it doesn't totally wreck their platform. It's why no online platform will ever have pure tick data. It just can't handle it. There's too many ticks coming in. It's just too much processing power. I mean, unless they get some brand new, well, I don't know, man, with technology moving like it's doing now, if Intel has some sort of a breakthrough like AMD's just had, then yeah, maybe we will see tick data on what's that one platform called that everybody's using nowadays, where you can share your trading view. That's it. Yeah. Looks quite different on this one. Looks like we have quite a ways to go. Well, the next change that we make to the market geometry is to adapt to logarithmic scale, because right now we have not factored those equations in. And it looks like Ninja hasn't really either. I mean, they have with their trend channels, but look at the way kind of like what Bloodhound or what Blackbird does with their order sets, sort of. Just kidding, Jeremy. Yeah, that looks totally different now. That looks like the hourly chart of the ES, doesn't it? It sure does. This is just not going to work right. I don't think I can make their fibs logarithmic either. I could do some lines maybe. I don't have IQ feed. I've got the kinetic, but I mean, I do have stocks, so I can do the QQQ. Should be a blank one here. Oh, wow. Well, that's even less data, though. Oh. Yeah, there we go. That's about like the futures, I guess. Yeah, that shows a little bit more room. So they're definitely unloading. I want to see some volume on this actual raw volume. I'm all over the place tonight, guys. I know, but we're coming up on such an important area that if it's not the major high that I'm thinking it is, then I don't know what is. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm totally sure of it, because that's kind of dumb, but I think we're about to have one heck of a high. Well, it just doesn't seem like there's all that much happening relative to how many. Well, that doesn't really mean anything, though, because all of these people are going to be losing money. Well, I mean, I can't imagine it coming back from $2.90 to $25. Yeah, it sounds pretty crazy. Where did they put all that money that the government gave them? Where did most of that money go? New brokerage accounts. It's crazy. It's almost hard to believe. New brokerage accounts. 6 times more brokerage accounts in the past 6 months than in the past 6 years. But I don't think anybody's really trading it that much. I think they're buying stocks here and there and not knowing what to do. And then when it turns down, they're going to be freaking out. Just like I was. I swear the high is about to be in. That's really all you got to do, James. Just take stock tips from the Uber drivers. If that's happening, then the high is definitely in. If everyone is talking about stocks, the high's in. Who was it? Morgan Stanley said that there's a guy, I don't know if it was the airport. Did they have airports when he was still alive? Maybe they had just started to have them. I don't know. He was no train station. Guy shining his shoes was telling him which stocks to buy. And he said that's when he sold everything. And that was the high. I think that was the high in 29. So no airports. Guys, I'm going to cut it right there. That was probably somebody texting me, telling me to wrap it up. And I need to give you guys a link for tomorrow. And I need to mail this thing out tonight. Let me draw one channel on here real quick. One of Ninja's channels and see. Well, let's just do it like this. I want to extend to the right. It's hard to get them to snap properly with this logarithmic. I don't know what's going on there. Snapping to the lowest close or something. Anyway, it does look like 5 up to me. And maybe it's not quite done, but I think it's soon to put in a high like you've never seen. Like you've never seen. And look at crude oil. It has yet to make it through that downtrend line perfectly. It's pulled right back to it again and found resistance and turning down yet again. I swear I think this is a 1-2 though, and we're about to break out to the upside. We'll see. Yeah, well, I mean, you're not going to be able to leave the country without taking that shot. And I'm kind of the opinion that you probably don't want to take that shot because there are some weird things in that thing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you should spend a couple of hours looking it up. What are the ingredients? So bad that they've had to do press releases saying that no, it is not going to modify your RNA. Nothing to worry about. Yeah, it's the same stuff that we use to genetically modify plants, but you know, those are plants. You're not a plant, so why do you need that in there? I don't know. Probably putting some old Nephilim in you. All right, let me make this link real quick. No, you don't want that shot. Be breaking out in boils and sores. It's the first bowl, man. Webinar. Schedule a webinar. Hang on a second. I've got a template. Live analysis sessions. Yeah. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Say open house. All right, so that's going to start tomorrow at 8:30, 8:45. Between 8:30 and 8:45. I want to make it by 8:45 for sure, but I also want to get that update out. I'll be in there by 8:45. I'm going to set this to 8:30. And 2 hours. And it's going to repeat every day for 3 days. Daily repeat. No, every first day after 3 occurrences. No passcode. Attendees can call in. Dial from, why just America, man? Come on. Argentina, Australia, Bahrain. Yeah, why not? Belgium. Canada. Cyprus. Nah. All right, I've got every country pretty much. So if you cannot hear me from your computer, then you can just call in and put it on speakerphone. Man, they do have every single country now. Wow. Okay, I'm almost done. We'll leave out the Russian Federation for now. Nothing on you guys. It's just, happens to be where most of my cracking is done. In the cloud. And I'm going to actually make an alternative host be Cedric. In case somebody needs to open it, just in case. All right, I've got all kinds of text in this that's just jibber jabber. Tomorrow is November 23rd. 23rd from 8:30 to 10:30. Right, I'm about to pass you a link, and I'm going to email it out. And I'm going to blast everybody that's ever hit the junk button on me. Give you another chance. See how that goes. I'm just going to delete all of this. Sorry, this is taking so long. I should have had this done before, but of course I was fighting with my computer. Welcome back to another open house. Live edition of Analysis Live. We'll do 3 sessions. Back to back. One tomorrow, Monday. Same times for Tuesday and Wednesday. Perfect. Okie dokie. Here it is. Oh, indeed. Huh. I don't have a toll-free number, so it won't let me do that. Sorry. All right, here it is. Finally, goodness gracious. You guys see that in the Zoom chat? A, B, C. B, C. It must have been some sort of, it was a Wednesday. All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. I'm going to wrap this thing up. I think crude might just do a truncated fifth wave here. Looks like it's already fading out. I don't know. It's tricky looking. Of course, the guys at Elliott Wave think that this is an A, B, C. Or I'm sorry, they think this is an ABC. A, expanded flat, B, C, and that this is a 1, 2. This is the euro, by the way. Okay, I skipped from the, well, similar difference. We printed a lot more money. It just depends on who loans it out faster, right? If nobody loans it out, then we can't inflate. They can print whatever they want, but when they decide to loan it out, that's when the inflation will start. And it's not before they want it to. I guess they've robbed us of 98% of the value of our dollar, if you think about it like that. But then again, we've built quite the infrastructure here, huh? But the cost of living is the highest it's ever been. I mean, you got to work 7 days a week just to eat. It's crazy. Anyway, all right, you guys have a good one. I'll talk to you tomorrow morning at 8:30 sharp. Well, 8:30 to 8:45 sharp-ish. Ish. Yes, sir. I'm going to go in there and have some vitamin C cakes. What's that thing? It's a special type of vitamin C. It's liquid. Can't think of the name of it. It's coated in fat. Anyway, lipid something. Anyway, good stuff. All right, you guys, have a good one. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everyone. Weird session. I know.